All right, ready to go?
Yep, go ahead.
Awesome. All right, well, hey everyone, to those that are watching, this is a weekly Google Hangout that we do as personal trainers and healthcare professionals. And I'm here today with Tom Huffman, who's kind of spearheads this whole thing. And we all come from different fitness and wellness backgrounds. And basically we pick a topic that we want to hit every single week. And we've done this for about a month and a half now. And this week we decided, we ended last week's conversation talking about what things we typically do for our clients on their first, visits that we see them, as a client. So the last thing that we talked about was that we incorporate nutrition and talk to them the importance of nutrition. So we felt like this was going to be a complete beast in of itself. So we were going to use today's hangout to talk about nutrition. So Tom, if there's anything else you want to add to it before I tell you what I personally do and kind of my take on nutrition.
All right, actually, I think I'll let you go ahead because I don't really incorporate nutrition into my training. I take care of myself, and I kind of talk about how I do it, but I really don't have a nutrition program that the people go on. So
okay, cool. Well, I will try not to make this too long, but there is a backstory to how all this started with me. So, in previous interviews and hangout sessions that we've had, you guys all know that I'm a physical therapist, but I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I have kind of transformed my fitness. I mean, for 15 years, I've been a PT. It's the same thing. I've been doing orthopedic outpatient PT. But when it comes to fitness, the first couple years of my career, maybe from year 1 to year 6, I was mainly doing fitness and sports-specific training with professional tennis players, and I was working on the WTA and ATP tour. And then probably from year, 8 to like 12, I was working with medical weight loss offices, and that it's doctors that really, I wanted them to send me physical therapy patients. They had their own weight loss deal that they had going on, but they never had an exercise component to it. So I was kind of like you, Tom, in that I really just focused on the exercise part and not the nutrition, because somebody else was doing that. And really, it helped that I was linked up with them, because those doctors, I developed relationships with them. They ended up sending me physical therapy patients. So I did the thing that I was passionate about, which was exercise. They did whatever they needed to do with, however they wanted to do it through their own nutrition programs and, injections or whatever the heck they were doing. And then it got personal. And it got personal about 2 years ago, and that I've actually struggled with some health issues. Really going back to 2001, I got a parasite when I was in Vegas. Ended up getting very, very, very ill. Lost about 40 pounds over a 5-month span of having this pretty ugly parasite that I was dealing with. And, over time I did get better, and I gained back all the weight and gained more. But in 2007, I think, I was kind of up to around 200 pounds. I'm a 5'8" guy, or I'm sorry, 5'7". I was trying to steal an inch there, but I'm 5'7". I was close to 200 pounds. Physical therapist, wasn't really happy with myself and where I was at. So the way that I knew how to do it was using exercise as my mode of weight loss. So that's when I really started to get into running, and started to do 5Ks, which turned to 10Ks, which turned to half and full marathons. And by the end of 2009, I completed my 4th marathon. And I actually, after that marathon, I just wasn't recovering well, and wasn't able to put in the mileage that I was doing before, which was more like 40 to 55 miles a week during my training, and ended up developing mono, which turned into Epstein-Barr, because I wasn't, I really wasn't laying off. I might have been laying off of exercise a little bit, but with, 3 kids and, a business of, a lot of, decent amount of employees, I just wasn't, letting go completely. And basically took a year off of exercise came back to exercise about a year and a half later. Trained for a half marathon. Did actually pretty well in it, but then I got sick again. Took off another year of exercise, almost to the point where I sold my business. And that's when a friend of mine who's a physical therapist introduced me to a nutrition program. And basically that opened my eyes up to basic principles of nutrition that helped me more than thousands of dollars of me going to physician offices and friends of mine, physician friends that were trying to get me better, that just couldn't help me. So, without sounding, I don't really want to be salesy or anything like that. It is a specific program by a company, but really from it, I've learned so many basic principles that I now teach my clients on how they need to attack their nutrition. And so I'll go through them, Tom, if you don't mind.
Oh, not at all.
It's about five major principles. And I think the first principle, this is not in the program, but the first principle is that food is not to be taken lightly. Food is probably our biggest drug in this country. I mean, a lot of the things that we think, oh, it's no big deal to have cake and this and that. And it's true. You can have things in moderation. But I think most of us do not want to address nutrition because nutrition, a lot of things that we feel like we're going to have to eliminate, we're addicted to. And sugar is really one of them. And that sugar has more addictive qualities than cocaine. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a major problem. There's a lot of addictive properties to the things that are readily available to us. So the first thing I tell my clients is that food is nothing to be taken lightly. You can either use food to fuel you, or you can use food to slowly kill you. I mean, there's really no in between with it. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I think is really important is understanding that not all calories are created equal. There is a huge difference. And a lot of times there's a lot of programs out there or diets and where it's a numbers game based off of calories. But there's a difference with eating, nutrient deficient foods and nutrient dense foods. And, the amount of calories that's in a bushel of kale is completely different than the same amount of calories that might be in a peanut butter cup. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole different ball game. And so I guess that brings you to my next thing in that you have to understand the power of nutrient dense foods. And you have to understand that there's a difference between nutrient dense foods and nutrient deficient foods. Buying burgers, at our fast food chains, those are usually very nutrient deficient foods. Salads, complex carbs like sweet potato, different fruits, different proteins. A lot of them are very nutrient dense. You have to know and basically educate yourself on the difference between nutrient dense versus nutrient deficient foods. Mm-hmm. The other principle that I tell my clients about is the intake of water. Like, water is basically God's gift to us, and that is what our bodies are primarily made of. And if you are not taking in enough water, number one, you're not allowing your body to function at the level that it's supposed to function at. And number two, dehydration, chronic dehydration is probably one of the biggest reasons why people have, all of these basically false cravings, because we're chronically dehydrated. And then the last principle, and maybe I'm forgetting some, but one of the last principles is the importance of eating often. One of the biggest things that because we live in this hectic society in America, we tend to just not eat enough. And basically, we're tired, so we just want to sleep in as late as we can. And then we want to get up and just have a cup of coffee and head out the door. And then, by time at lunch, we're starving, right? But at this point, your body is already in a fat storing state. So now we, crush out a sub and some chips or whatever. And then we usually just work until it's time for dinner. And then at the worst time that you can eat, that's when we usually have our biggest meal. and your body goes into this hibernation mode, and then we pass out, and then we do this over and over and over again every day. So I make sure people understand the importance of eating, and that you don't have to starve yourself in order to lose weight, but you got to eat, and you got to eat often. You got to go back to how you were as a baby, where like babies have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. And we don't do that. You know, we've trained our bodies to basically go into starvation mode and go into starvation mode often. So once I explain all those principles to people, and I make sure that, you know, do you understand this? Like, do you understand the importance of this? Because, you know, like what your goal is to lose weight, or your goal is to decrease your body fat percentage. The quickest way you're going to do that is through what you're putting in your mouth. That's the quickest way you're going to do that. We're going to use exercise to build confidence. We're going to use exercise to help sculpt your body, and to chisel your body out. But if your main thing is to fit into that dress size, we're going to have to address this, and you're going to have to say, hey, look, I understand, like, this is a big deal, you know, and it's not about being on some diet for, 2 weeks, and, after that we get to whatever we want, or 2 months, and this is about lifestyle changes and understanding that you have to understand these principles and understand that food is a huge component of not just weight, not just body fat percentage, but how you feel and how your workouts are going to go, and how you're feeling your body for it to run properly. So anyways, those are some of the principles that I talk about with my clients. And then if they agree on those principles, and they, and I know it could be a little overwhelming to them, but if they agree on it, then there is a program that I recommend for them. It's basically teaching them the same things that it taught me on how to portion out your foods with the proper amount of each major food category: carbs, veggies, fruits, proteins, healthy fats, and what types of drinks you can have, which really is water, almond milk, coconut milk, those type of things, and how to portion out based on what your current weight is. And so I'll usually have them buy that program. It's like $40 if they want to address their nutrition. If they don't, then it's fine, but they know from the get-go where I stand with this. And then they do that in conjunction with whatever exercise program I want them to do. So whether that is a program at my facility, whether that is them getting trained by me personally, whether that is an online program, I know that the results are going to come from nutrition. If they buckle down with the nutrition, I can pretty much already, prophesy we're going to get results, and we're going to get results fast. And people want results fast. And I just feel like if they are not willing to put their nutrition, at the forefront, I'm going to lose them as a client anyway. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And like I said, I'll talk about the way I eat and what I do, but basically that's it. I avoid sugar, processed sugar. I eat fruit. I eat quite a bit of fruit,
right?
But the processed sugar. And like you said, you're talking about the nutrient dense and the nutrient deficient. The other thing we want to look at is a lot of times the calorie dense is the nutrient deficient.
Right.
So you're taking in a lot of calories, you're not getting much out of it, whereas you're getting the lower calorie foods, the vegetables, fruits, lean meats are, like you said,
you're getting tons of nutrients from it.
Right.
Yeah.
And people say, whatever nutrition is at least half of your process or progress. I think is definitely more when you're talking about, your body composition, and, you can exercise all you want and you can get bigger muscles, you get stronger, but you're not going to get healthier if you don't take care of the nutrition part of it.
Right.
And you're not going to, like you said, you're not going to see the results physically,
right,
if you don't get, lose that body fat.
I think why this became such a big deal for me is because, think about it, 90% of the people that are coming into my offices are physical therapy clients, right? And okay, people come in, they tear their rotator cuff, they tweak their groin, they hurt their knee, got cartilage degeneration, whatever, right? Okay, they have all these different things going on. But whenever you talk to people about what their goals are, they always say, I want to be able to do this so that I can start to lose weight. And most, I would say probably 75% of the goals always come back to, I want to get in shape, right? So I hurt myself. And now that you hurt yourself, you're like, crap, here it is. I had this good shoulder. Now I got a bad shoulder. Now I actually want to do something, right? And if you look at it, if you dig into it, the thought process is that I have to exercise in order to lose weight. And I have to exercise at a high level in order to lose weight. And that's what most people's, goal is, even though that's not necessarily what we want their goals to be. That's what it is. And it is what it is, right? So the interesting thing, why this has been so transformative for my practice, is that I don't have to, I can tell them, look, if you want to lose weight, we can actually start losing weight from now. If you're really interested in that, we'll rehab you. But if you're interested, we can start to lose weight from now. And I'll tell you how. And it's through your nutrition. I had a lady who was coming in for her SI, her sacroiliac. So her back and her hip were all messed up. And she was coming into my office and she wanted to take off a couple pounds. That was the goal, is to get her. And I said, look, well, we can't exercise right now because, you're hurt. So, we need a rehab. So I need to, realign your hip, basically stabilize it, all that other stuff. But I said, if you want to lose weight, I can show you how to do it. So I kind of gave her the same spiel that I basically just explained to you guys. She was like, I'm really interested in doing that. I'm really interested. So how do I do it? So then I just say, okay, well, this is a tool that I use to direct me. It's like the dummy's guide to how to eat right, And so she did it. Within 3 weeks, she lost 8 pounds.
Just like that. Yeah.
No exercise, nothing. No exercise, just eating right. She lost 8 pounds, and get this, she lost 16 inches came off her body. So it's unbelievable. She was completely strict to it, no cheats, no nothing. And then what I tell people is that, look, I don't expect for you to eat, to graze all day, and that's not the whole idea. And they see that you can eat a lot and actually lean out. You can completely do that. You eat according to your goals. I don't believe in diets. I believe in eating according to whatever goals you want. You want to lean out, you're going to eat more proteins, veggies, and you're going to stick with nutrient-dense foods. You want to lose weight? Okay, well, we're going to maybe drop you a little bit with calories, but you're not going to go in starvation mode because you're going to eat nutrient-dense foods. No matter what you do, you're going to be eating often. You're going to be eating every 2 to 3 hours. And if you want to maintain weight, well, you're going to do exactly what I just said, but you're just going to eat more. I mean, that's really it. So it's based on whatever your goals are. And that's our primary mode of basically, decreasing your fat and decreasing weight, is through nutrition. So it has been a huge deal to my practice because it just makes sense. It also weeds out, me and you talked about this, and Justin, last week. It's we don't really want to work with the no nonsense people that say they want it, but they really don't want it. You know what I mean? And really at this point in my career, I really don't, I want to help people, but I don't want to babysit. And I really want to help somebody that's willing to help themselves. And for me, I get more gratitude from the results than the paycheck at this point. So, when somebody says, look, I really want to lose 30 pounds. Yeah. Or Greg, I really want to lose 60 pounds. Or, I have a client says she wants to lose 200 pounds. I mean, and she actually has just broken the 100-pound mark. She just broke the 100-pound, and she did it in less than a year.
Wow.
She did it in less than a year. It's through nutrition. And here's the crazy part about it, is that she was injured for half that time. So at this point, I'm like, look, if you really want to lose weight, this is what you really should at least somewhat look at with regards to these principles. And then I know you're serious, Now, if somebody's like, look, I just want to tone up, then no, that, and they're good at their weight, then obviously they must be doing something right, But for the most people that weight is a huge issue, that's basically what I sit down and I talk to them about.
And you know what? I think a lot of times too, especially for people who are just starting out, we always overcomplicate things. You know, you can talk to somebody and who wants to lose weight and just say, all right, starting tomorrow, cut out the garbage. Don't change anything else. Just cut out the soda, cut out the candy bars, cut out the potato chips, and you can make progress doing that.
Right. Right.
And then, you know, okay, so you've cut that out. And maybe depending on how many calories are taken in during the day with the garbage, they may have to replace it with some healthy stuff. But many times, just cut that stuff out, maintain or continue eating the good stuff, and you're going to make progress right away just doing that.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about, well, how much protein, how much, you know, carbs, and because you're going to start losing. And then obviously once you get going, you know, once you're starting to lose weight, then yeah, you know, then we can get a little more complicated, a little more complex with your diet and figure out how much of each you need. But just, you know, like you said, if you're serious, cut out the garbage.
Right.
And you'll start losing your weight right away.
I mean, that's really it. That's really it. I mean, it's there's, you know, it's funny. I actually tell my physical therapy patients this. After their first visit or during their first visit, they're like, I always incorporate into the visit how important it is that they manage what they're doing, because physical therapy is only 45 minutes to an hour session, right? Tops. Most people come 2 to 3 times a week. I was like, look, we got another 23 hours today that you could screw this up. And so it's really important that, you know, I mean, it's the same thing with training a client, you know, you can punish them for an hour. I don't care how much you punish them. They can completely undo it within 20 minutes.
Right.
So it's like, yeah. So, you know, it just, as I said, for me, it's more about seeing the results, which is what they say they want anyways. Okay. It's not like, you know, then about the paycheck. It's just because it's, you know, and then you know who's serious, because really it is mental. It's a mindset, like what we talked about 2 weeks ago or last week. I'm sorry. You know, it's a mindset, and you have to be willing to sometimes sacrifice and change a few habits. And just like you said, it doesn't have to be everything today, but you got to understand, you know, the basic principles of how it works. And I truly believe there's so much garbage and so much misconceptions out there that you almost have to just take everybody in and just assume they know nothing. Because most people have been on a diet. Most people have been on thinking that protein is bad, or thinking that fats are bad, or thinking that carbs are bad. No, they're all good. They're all made for us. It's just how much you should be having and what types, you know. There's good of everything and there's bad of everything, you know. And so it really comes down to what I feel like our value is as fitness and health professionals, is really educating people, you know, educating people on how to fuel their body and how to train their body.
And, you know, we talk about sacrifice, and we definitely have to sacrifice, you know, if you like candy bars, you're going to have to sacrifice not eat candy bars.
Right.
But, and you got into this earlier, which is a great point. We don't need to sacrifice and go hungry. I was talking to somebody a couple months ago, and they said, oh, they started their diet and this and that, but they're starving. I said, you should not be hungry. You should not be hungry.
Exactly.
You don't have to be hungry. You know, you eat the right stuff all day long. I mean, not all day, but, you know, like myself, I eat, you know, breakfast, I eat a mid-morning snack, I eat lunch, an afternoon snack, and eat dinner. And it keeps me full all day. And, but it's good, healthy food.
Right.
Another point, you know, I talked to you about doing these podcasts, and what I do is I interviewed personal trainers, authors, nutritionists, and we always talk about one thing that, you know, before people start switching to healthier foods, you know, they say, well, you know, that the vegetables don't taste as good, or this doesn't taste as good. But I think that, you know, I always use the example of Doritos. Doritos have just such a strong, intense, great flavor that, you know, you compare that to some vegetables. Yeah, you know, you are going to say the vegetables don't have any flavor. But you start cutting that, you know, these unhealthy foods that have the intense flavors out of your diet, you know, you're going to start appreciating how good, you know, a good vegetable meal can taste, or, you know, some good, some well-seasoned meats. I mean, the taste is great. You're not sacrificing taste, once you get rid of that other garbage.
It really is a change in your palate. I actually think my wife is, because remember I told you I was at soccer practice with my son, and I asked her to bring up my dinner while we're doing the podcast. So you'll kind of get an idea and see, like, this is what I eat, and if if that's what you're used to. And remember, a lot of these foods, people got to understand, a lot of these foods have addictive chemicals in them. Like Doritos is set up for you to not just eat one. I mean, now talk to me 2 years ago. You put a bag of Doritos in front of me, the US Open is on right now, man, I would be crushing that bag of Doritos, right? Because that's what my body craves. Your body craves what you give it. That's how it works. Your body craves what you feed it. So now my body is craving, this beef stew that my wife's going to bring up. That's basically organic beef stew, like that's what my body craves. My body wants that. My body wants fruit. My body wants veggies. My body rejects now like a fast food burger. I can't even do it. I mean, if I'm going to have a burger at this point, like I have to have it early in the day. Like I might treat myself to a burger maybe once a month or something like that. Like the other day, I think you saw on Facebook, I put a picture of a frozen yogurt, right? That I had, right? I put caramel fudge in it, and I put, but you know what it does? Before, man, I think I could have doubled that thing. I could have had 2 of them, 2 years ago and think nothing of it. But now, that thing put me in a sugar coma. It was because my body is just not used to that anymore. And that's where you want to get to. That's what I tell my clients. Like now, I actually do eat 80-20, 85-15, 80-20. Basically, I'm eating clean 80% of the time, and I can throw in, like if I wanted to go to Starbucks, 9 out of 10 times, I'm having a black coffee. But when I'm cheating a little bit, every, 5th or 9th time, I can put, a pump of white mocha. But I'm not going to completely get the sugar coma version of the white chocolate mocha with extra. That's what I used to do. But now my addictive, it's gone. The addiction's gone. And so, people might hear you and me and think we're health nuts, and maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I sure know this. I know that the majority of foods that are in front of us in those aisles at all of our local supermarkets, our chain supermarkets, are foods that have addictive qualities in it, and we have to basically understand that we're addicts to food. And once you can break the addiction, which doesn't take long to do, once you can break that addiction, you will start to see results, boom, in no time. If people just cut processed sugars out of their eating, and did nothing else, just did that, boom, just like that. Within a week, 2, they'll feel completely different. Now they'll feel like a coke addict, okay, for the first 2 days, okay, right? They'll feel like like a crack addict, but that's what it shows you. Come off of that, and you'll see how addicted this stuff is, man. It's crazy, So, it's a crazy thing. It really is, and I feel so passionate about it because, I'm into supposedly the healthcare field, right? But really, what it comes down to is, like, as I've been doing more of this for myself, and that's really how I got involved with the company that I'm with. A lot of people are like, man, like what, man, you were so sick and you're doing so well now. And I had a lot of physicians that were basically friends of mine that saw that, like, wow, he got well, and so, they want to know how I did it, and people think it's medication, or no, it's not. I cleaned up my eating, man. That's like the best medication you can have, So, anyways,
and
yeah.
so many of our health problems are brought on by the food we eat.
Right.
You know, we can get rid of so many problems by, again, like you said, changing our diets. So, let me check
there
that.
it goes. Beef stew, corn, and carrots.
I wish you could put that through the computer here.
And that's what I crave. Well, you know, one other thing I will say, and sorry, you know, I hope you guys don't mind if I'm just chewing a little bit. It is 8 o'clock here, and usually I'd have my dinner already. But one thing I will say is that you know, the other thing I tell people it's really important is to especially in the beginning, if you're looking to lean out and really looking to drop weight, you know, and kind of speed along the process, is also cutting out having you know, carbs, you know, even if it's complex carbs, or you know, anything that has sugar in it, even if it's milk or fruits or whatnot, after a certain time, you know. So you know, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock is kind of the cutoff. And you know what, that's usually, after that time is usually when a lot of people do a lot of damage. That's when they want to be comforted. They come home from a stressful day of work and they use food as their comfort. And you know, I try not to get too health crazy with people, but really think about it. You know, there's no different than saying I'm going to light up a cigarette, you know, or I'm going to get the bottle. You know, it really is. I mean, I know people might think it's, oh my God, that's just too extreme, Greg. But it really is. Food is a comfort. It's a comfort for many of us. And we're using it to comfort us instead of fuel us. And I think that's a huge issue. So. And
unfortunately, it's starting at a young age also. You know, kids are turning to food for the comfort or the security.
Right.
And you made a couple good points earlier too. Is number one, I always say, you know, that food is fuel. You know, we don't eat for pleasure. Obviously, you have to enjoy it so you can eat it, but you know, it's not there for us to enjoy it. We need to. And I notice a difference in my body if I, you know, I have to be careful of what I eat before I work out. You know, I work out very early in the morning, but I can eat the wrong thing, and you know, if I eat fruit at the wrong time, I'll go out there to exercise and just, you know, I have that, boom, no more energy.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to be very careful of what I eat before I work out.
Right.
And you made another point.
I was going to ask you this, because I think I'm like you. I work out early in the morning. This was actually a question that was brought up in our clinic the other day, and it's amazing the difference responses. So I want to hear what yours is. Do you typically eat before your workouts when you work out early in the morning?
Basically what I have is a couple cups of coffee and a bowl of applesauce.
Okay.
Unsweetened applesauce, you know, natural applesauce.
Right.
Now, but that's because I work out. I get up at 3 o'clock. I do some work on the computer, and then I go out, and I'm usually working out between 3:45 and 4 o'clock. So,
okay.
But if I am going to work out, say I'm off for a day, and I decide not to work out that time, if I'm going to work out like over the summer when I was off, you know, throughout the summer because I work in a school, my wife and I would walk or something, and I would go for a run or a workout after she left at 7:30, and that's when I'd really have to be careful. Because I can't be up from 3 o'clock until 7:30, not having to eat and then work out. But if I had the wrong thing, then I would run into trouble when I was trying to work out. So,
Gotcha.
What I would like to have is a couple of hard-boiled eggs, some fruit, an orange or an apple, and a good-sized spoonful of natural peanut butter.
Okay.
So I kind of get I get the carbohydrates from the fruit, I get the protein from the eggs, and I get some fat from the peanut butter.
Right. What I typically do is, you know, okay, tomorrow I start seeing patients at 8. I got to leave my house at around 7:10. I will get up from, you know, maybe, I don't know, like 5-ish, around, you know, 5:30. I use a pre-workout drink, just, you know, nothing crazy, no spikes in sugar or anything like that, but just a natural energy drink that's a pre-workout. And I do that, and it usually kicks in about 20 to 25 minutes. And so usually what I'll do is I'll drink that first, and kind of prep, because, I work out from home, for the most part. But, some days my workout is like doing, 3 to 5 miles in the neighborhood if I want to, but most of my workouts are at my house. And I basically, within 25 minutes, I usually start working out, and, whatever, 30 minutes up to an hour. And then I'll have a recovery drink. That's basically just replenishing my carb stores. And, usually about an hour and a half after that, I'm usually at work at this point. Then I'll, have a bowl of fruit, or oatmeal, steel cut oats or something like that. And that will usually then take me to lunch. And then at lunch, depending on what my goals are, I'm like one of these guys, I can have an omelet at like any time of the day.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So, if my goals are, like I don't have any major goals at the time, and I'm not trying to necessarily, I'm just trying to maintain and just feel great. I'll do an omelet, or, but then sometimes I'll stick to where I need to get a ton of veggies in. So I'll do like a big salad, for lunch. And basically I'm just eating. Like I'm eating like every hour and a half to 2 hours, just having something, just something. And it, keep me going until I can get, this. And then that's it. That's pretty much it, And the days that I'm not treating patients late, like tomorrow, I have my last patient at 6 at the office. So they'll finish at 7. We have Fit Club. Probably don't leave the office till 8:39. Those days, what I typically try to do is I try to have one of my employees go get me some dinner, like a salad or something like that. So nothing heavy for Fit Club. And then when I get home, I'll do like a meal replacement shake or something like that, with water. So it's not heavy on my stomach, so I can go to bed.
Right. And for me, I'll give you a quick rundown of my day. And especially now that I'm, back at work.
I don't want to be rude. I'm eating as I'm listening.
No problem at all. Like I said, I'll have my applesauce in the morning. And then after working out and before getting ready, I have some homemade protein bars that I make every week. So we have those. It just includes protein powder, some oats, and some natural peanut butter and some milk, and some chia seeds I put in also. Okay. So that's what we have for breakfast. Mid-morning, a little after 10:30, I'll have cottage cheese, a handful of almonds, and some fruit. And then lunch comes again, between 12 and 1, and definitely includes, whether it's in a sandwich form or not, vegetables, meat, and some fruit. Mid-afternoon, 3 o'clock, hard-boiled eggs, some vegetables, usually peas and carrots, and then an apple or an orange or something. And then I have dinner, which again, usually includes meat, fruits, vegetables. And that's about it. Cheese. When I get home from work, I like to have a drink, have a beer. So I have, a hard cheese, usually a cheddar cheese, but not a lot, just, 3 or 4 pieces just to, for my stomach. And that's about it. And a lot of water.
Yeah. I think one of the things is what people have to understand. It's so funny. I was actually at a wedding. This is a funny story here. So I was at a wedding, right? And this is fairly recently. It's a wedding of a good friend, a former patient, good friend, and a lot of people in the community know me as a physical therapist, but they also know me as a fitness guy. So I'm in the buffet, I guess, of the wedding, where to get food and stuff like that, and I feel like people are staring at me on what I'm putting on my plate, and they're shocked to see that, like, even at the wedding, they had cupcakes at the end, and I had one. And 2 people came and she's like, "I can't believe you're having one of those." And so, just watching what I'm putting in my plate, the cupcakes, and people assume that there's no cheats in my life. And it's not true. Like, it's okay to have a beer. It's okay. Like, for me, I don't drink beer because of the gluten, and it usually bothers my stomach. But I will have a wine cooler, or I'll have a glass of wine. I just don't have it every single night. You know, I mean, I can, because I eat so good the rest of the time. I mean, I could, and you know, but I just choose not to. You know, maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week. But whatever you want to do, you can. It's just a matter of, is that how the rest of your day consists of? Like, if you're having a beer, you're having beer for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner.
Yeah, what if I could?
That might catch up to you, you know, but you're not, you know, and it's just moderation. Also, another thing too is, you know, in 2007, 2008, look, I lost a lot of weight. I mean, I was close to 200 pounds, and I actually got down in 2009. So I started in 2006 the end of 2006 is when I started to like run, and you know, again, just trying to like do a 5K. But by 2009, I was running like, an average week for me was 45 to 50 miles a week. Wow. Okay. Now I had not changed any of my eating habits at that point, and I lost weight, and I lost a lot of weight. I actually got down to probably in the mid 150s. Okay. So it's possible. You can lose weight, and you can lose weight through extreme exercise over a period of time. But that was from end of 2006 to 2009. That was nearly 3 years that it took me to lose, you know, close to 50 pounds, right? But I didn't feel good. I mean, I looked okay. I looked kind of like what I do now. I was more frail than I am now. But I mean, I obviously wasn't good because my body shut down, you know? So, you know, I make sure that people understand that, look, I can tell you, you're going to feel great if you do this. You just got to have to get through that first part, you know, where you're kind of, you know, coming off of it, right? Like you're in a rehab center.
Like giving up smoking, right?
Right. And so, but once you get through, you're going to feel amazing, and you're going to want to feel that feeling all the time. I mean, that's a thing. Like if the week that I wasn't able to be on the podcast, I think you remember I was on vacation,
right?
And you know, we're 3 days in, and we weren't eating bad, to be honest with you, but we're just eating at a lot of restaurants. But you know, if I go to a restaurant, I'm having like salmon and veggies and stuff like that. But still, it's not as clean as how you would prepare it, you know. So, man, after a couple of days, you just don't feel good. Like you don't feel good, you know, eating this type of clean food. You just feel, you know. So I tell people, eventually you're just going to get addicted to how you feel. And you're like, holy crap, man, I feel really good eating like this. And that's going to be the thing that's going to make you want to stay, you know, and take it off the weight. Let's, you know, but I mean, initially you gotta hone in on what they want, but then it turns into something different, you know, once they experience it. So.
And you made another great point earlier when you were talking about the frozen yogurt with all the stuff on there, and then if you eat it, you're like, ugh. And you know, it's not just a physical thing. You know, that's what I like people to feel like is, you know, you can have those cheat meals, but afterwards, it's good to feel, number one, physically, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that because you know that means that you like to eat good, but then also mentally, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. So next time when that same choice is presented to me, I won't want it because A, it didn't make me feel good physically, and B, it didn't make me feel good mentally. I disappointed myself because I didn't uphold my standards.
Right.
So.
One you know, going back to our mindset talk from last week, one of the things I tell my clients is that I'm glad that you said yes to me, but from now on, to get to most of your goals, you're probably gonna have to say no more than yes. And a lot of times you're just going to have to say no to things that you were used to having in order to get to what you say you want. And I think that's really important, you know, and that, you know, I guess that's where that old willpower muscle, you know, comes into play. But, you know, Justin made a reference to this maybe 2 weeks ago, that you only have so much strength when it comes to willpower.
Right.
Eventually something else has to kick in that you want to basically recapture that feeling again. And that's what I think is so amazing about foods, is that you can feel the difference in the shift in your body. And not just like, like we talked with exercising, we kind of all came to an agreement that last week we enjoy being sore at times because it makes us feel like we're feeling changes, in our body. But, that feeling makes us, say, hey, you know what? Whatever we're doing is working, right? Well, people are much more in tune with making a commitment to something when they feel it, when they feel different. The scale is one thing, and yes, I understand it plays a big part, but if you could feel different, you can feel better, you can feel like you have a weight lifted off of you, literally, like you get addicted to that, and that's where you're trying to get people to. I just said something in one of my challenge groups, my online support groups, and I said something yesterday. I said, I know a lot of you are starting and, starting on your journey and whatnot, but my goal is that you will start to use exercise and understand that it's the feeling you get from completing a workout, that you started something and finished it. It might have been a 30-minute workout. It might have been a 20-minute workout. It might have been a 40-minute workout. But whenever you start and complete something releases in your brain. It's a feeling of accomplishment. I don't know the scientific term for it right now, but whether it's dopamine or whatever, but something releases and gives you a euphoric, a small euphoric feeling. And and so anyways, people are driven by feelings. They're driven by that. And I think that through good nutrition, people are driven by feeling better and not having reflux and and up all night and sluggish and having to continue to deal with these sugar highs and lows and highs and lows and highs and lows. And they can just stay a nice even course and just kind of cruise at a nice altitude. I mean, that to me, there's nothing better than that, man. There's nothing better than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we talked about willpower, and I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that book I've read. I read it, I finished it, and now I'm going back and reading it again. Immediately as soon as I finished it, I went back to the beginning. Now I'm writing notes and outlining the book.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But just like you're talking about,
that was a book that you told me about last week.
Yeah, it's called Resilience.
Yeah, Resilience.
And like he's talking about, we're not born with resilience.
Right.
We can develop it, but it takes practice.
Right.
We start today and you build a little bit. And it's the same thing with willpower, right? We're not born with willpower, and you don't have to be full of willpower starting tomorrow. Just a little bit, and you practice it every day, and eventually you have willpower. But then again, what's that?
I'm sorry. Here, I was going to say, here's a good quote for you, just in line with that. Training will allow you to do things that trying hard will not. You just have, right? You just got to train yourself. You can train yourself to do anything.
Right.
You just have to be willing to stay the course and go through it. So, yeah.
You take one step tomorrow, 2 steps the next day, 3 steps. You don't, again, and even if, okay, so you've gone 2 months and you've eaten perfect, you know what? We're human. All of a sudden one day you go and just eat everything in sight, cake, whatever. Doesn't mean you failed.
Right.
It doesn't mean you've just wasted, 2 months.
Right.
We're human. We're weak.
Exactly.
Just start back the next day and don't beat yourself up over it.
Continue to move forward. To move forward.
Yep.
Completely agree.
My wife likes to say baby steps. Take baby steps.
Yeah. I like that.
All right. I know you said you have to get going shortly, so anything else you want to add before we?
No, I mean, I know I rattled off a lot of stuff, but really it has been a huge shift in how I address the fitness client. And so I just feel like nutrition has to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. And what I have realized is that we have been sold so many things. We've been told so many things that we just have to assume for our clients that they know nothing.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then, explain to them the basic principles. And nothing I said, I'm sure nothing I said was like earth shattering. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just things that you've learned through, right. And things that maybe a lot of things you've just practiced for many years, but that makes you a good trainer. Like you can impart those things on somebody if your client asks you a question with regard to this, but most people don't know. Most people do not know. They don't know. And truthfully, most people think that they can out exercise bad eating, and you can't. You can't. And unless you do it like I did, and you're willing to run 50 plus miles a week, you probably can outdo, from a caloric expenditure standpoint, but eventually you're going to crash like I did, okay? So really nutrition has to be a big part. I make no, I'm a huge believer in what Beachbody has to offer from a nutritional standpoint in their portion control, stuff. I'm a daily user of Shakeology. I think it's solid. I put it in my office. I let people try it. That's basically what I do. And it's worked very, very, very well for me in that people are getting results. So even though I probably will never be, I don't have any desire to be any top level Beachbody coach or anything like that. I really don't care. I'm getting, their products are pretty darn good, and I'm getting incredible results from my clients. And I guess for me, why it really doesn't matter if I'm a top coach or whatever is because if people are happy in my place of business with their results, they're going to tell other people about me, whether it's for fitness or for physical therapy or for whatever. I just need people to get good results in whatever they're doing in my line of business. And that will keep us, happy and keep us, keep everybody employed. Right. So anyways, but truthfully, I'm a huge believer in their stuff. And I'm a huge believer in incorporating nutrition into that. It has to be part of your goals and your exercise, wellness program.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, when I talk about, part of when I train people that I talk to them about the nutrition, but I kind of, like you said, we have to assume they don't know anything. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like, okay, here's the way I do it. You can follow me if you want. And I kind of leave it at that. But right. I should make sure that I make it more of a point.
Right.
And like you said, explain everything, little by little, point by point.
I can tell people, and I think if you gave to your clients this Google Hangout that we just did, like, I think 100% of your clients would agree. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The problem is that people don't know where to start. Organic. Should I do non-organic? Do I have the money for that? Organic's great, but you don't have to do that. Like, it's just a lot of excuses that people have built in that, if I don't do organic, then none of it matters. No, that's not true. Okay. Organic is very good. It's more preferable, but it's not the end all be all. You know what I mean? And there's certain things, there's certain fruits, the dirty dozen, there's certain that are probably better organic. Those are the ones that if you are going to buy again, you buy those. But there's so many things that people just don't know. They don't know how much they should have. They don't know how much food they should be eating. They don't understand those things. So that's the reason why, I'm not big into the high pressure sales stuff. But if it makes sense, let's start out with a very cheap, affordable, $40. It'll teach you the portions. You'll give you containers for you to put your foods in and retrain your body on how to eat, because you don't know how to eat. So let's retrain you on how to eat. Start with that, see where that takes you. And then, we can add other things as needed. So that's basically, that's it. That's pretty much what I do.
That's awesome. A lot of information in this hour. A lot of great information.
So, thank you for working with me with the time today. Sorry. You're a patient man.
No problem. Not a problem at all. So I had things I could do too.
I'm eating my dinner. I'm late.
So, and I'm heading to bed here shortly. So
okay.
Yeah, no, perfect.
You got an early wake up call. Me too. Don't worry. So
right. If people want to contact you regarding the beach body and stuff like that, how do they get a hold of you?
Basically, I have my physical therapy site is physicaltherapist.pro or renewalrehab.com. My email is gregtoddpt@gmail.com. That's usually the email that I use for all of my fitness clients. And then greg@physicaltherapist.pro is my regular email for physical therapy. Either one, I'll respond. And then basically on Facebook, I'm Greg Todd Fitness and Rehab. So,
awesome. Sounds good. So hopefully that's, people will listen and get a hold of you. And even if they don't, they decide to go elsewhere and,
It doesn't matter, man. Just understand that the principles are the principles.
Right.
You just got to find what's right for you. Understand that, there's a few different ways to skin the cat, but at the end of the day, the principles are the principles. Ask most trainers that, look the part and are doing it. Ask them and they'll tell you, yeah, that's pretty much what you got to do. That's pretty much what you got to do. There's many things out there. I'm sure there's other products and other things. And, I'm sure most of them, work just fine too. This is what I use. This is what works good for me. So, I don't know.
And like you said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. The important part is you got to start skinning a cat.
Yeah, that's right. So, you just got to start. You just got to start.
Even if you don't know how, start somewhere. Get rid of that junk food. Start that tomorrow.
Huge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll catch you back here next week.
Next week. All right.
All right. Hopefully 7 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Sounds great. We'll talk with you. Enjoy your food.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, Greg. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye-bye.